Hey guys, welcome to Yoga with Nazareth. I'm Nazareth, and today I want to share with you a quick routine that you can do every morning to get your body moving, but specifically mobilize your pelvis, your hamstrings, your low back, and your spine. All of those things will help alleviate tension within the pelvic floor. And the cool thing about this is you can even do it in bed, even though I'm demonstrating on the floor. And I'm going to move through this kind of swiftly just because this is the internet. We don't have time, but you can certainly make this longer. You could add repetitions. You could hold positions for a little bit longer, or you could even repeat the sequence a few times. So let's begin and lie on our backs. So take a second just to take a few deep breaths. Notice any tension that's already existing within the body, and let your arms relax by your sides. Draw your right knee into your chest. Place your palms either behind the right leg or on top of the right shin. Start to roll through your ankle. Doesn't matter which direction because we're going to go the other way. And again, just kind of notice if the front of the hip is a little tight. Don't overthink it. Just be aware of it. And then go ahead and release the hands. If your hands were on top of the right shin, you're now going to interlace them behind the right thigh, right heel up to the ceiling. And then exhale, right heel towards the right bottom. Let's do this 2 more times. And you can point the toes or you can flex the toes. It really doesn't matter. Just depends what you're feeling in your body. 1 more time. Now this time we're going to bring our right heel towards the bottom. Right palm is going to press into the right quad. And I want you to press it to a point where you're going to have to resist a little bit and push back with the right leg. So keep a little bit of tension. Inhale, reach that right foot up to the ceiling. Exhale, right heel to the floor. And I apologize if my right leg is out of the frame. I just thought of that, but I don't want to start over. 1 more. So what we're doing here is just taking the quad out of the equation, getting the back of the leg to fire up a little bit more. Relax your right foot to the floor. Right foot slides forward and we'll go to the left side. So bend your left knee, hug it in towards the chest, nothing too aggressive, and start to roll through your ankle. Again, point the toes, flex the toes. It really doesn't matter. Do that maybe 3 or 4 times before you change directions. Good. And then same thing. We'll extend that left leg up and then pull that left heel down towards your bottom. So we're just getting the back of the leg to move, getting some blood flow here, while also extending and flexing the knee. I totally lost count, so I'm going to say that's our 3rd round. Release the hands. Place your left palm firmly on the left thigh, create a little resistance, and push back with the left thigh. Now we're going to actively lift left foot to the ceiling and then lower. Keep a little bit of tension here, but see if you can keep the pelvic floor relaxed. Good. And no movement in the hips or the rest of the body. 1 more. Wonderful. Left heel comes in towards the glute. Left foot to the floor and let that leg extend long. Again, hands by your sides. Keep everything else in the body still. As you inhale, draw your right heel in towards the bottom. You're going to let it slide up the floor. Open the right knee to the side. Extend your leg back out to straight. Bring the leg back to neutral so your toes will be facing up. 2 more times. Slide that heel in towards your bottom. Externally rotate through the right hip. Extend the right leg straight and come back to neutral. So 1 more. And again, notice how my hips aren't moving, my rib cage isn't moving. This is strictly in the hip capsule. Good. And then we'll move to the other side. So drag that left knee in towards the bottom, open out towards the left side of the room, and straighten your leg back to start. 2 more. And play around with your breath. You can inhale as you bring the knee in, exhale as you open, or maybe it feels better to exhale as you drag that heel in and then open it again. So we're just passively getting some external rotation in the hips. Now this time we're going to move a little different. We're going to drag the heel in again, but this time the right knee is going to come in towards the midline for internal rotation. Then we will open out again to the side, extend the leg long, and back to start. So instead of pulling in with the knee facing up, You pull in and the knee is coming in towards the center of the body, internally rotating the hip. Open back out as you slide the heel to start. Last time. So really all we're doing here is just getting the thigh bone to understand that it can move separately from your pelvis and your low back. Good. Other side. And you might be able to see a little bit better here. So as I drag my heel in, knee comes in towards the midline. Then I open out and extend it long. And if you're like me, you might have less range of motion in the internal side, or maybe the opposite. Everyone's a little bit different. So there's no right or wrong here. But again, we're just getting this area to move and get some blood flowing last time as we come down. Wonderful. Let's bend both knees. Open the feet a little bit wider than hips distance, and we'll continue with that internal rotation. Let your right knee come in towards the center and let it just kind of come down to any range that's comfortable and then open back up. So we'll do that 2 more times. Right knee in towards the center, coming down towards the floor. The pelvis and the hips aren't rotating or moving, and back up. And here's where you could start to play around with adding reps or maybe lingering in this a little bit if you have time. Good. And then 3 on the other side. So left knee in and back up. And it's going to be tempting to let the knee drop lower, and you'll notice you can rotate to do that, but we don't want any other movement in the body. We're just isolating that hip joint in towards the center. Awesome. Bring those feet in a little bit closer and we'll move to external rotation. So you're going to roll to the pinky edge of your foot, open the right leg out to any degree, and then come back up. So we're opening to a point that we can maintain a level pelvis, hips stay on the floor, and we're not rolling to the right side. Good. I think we have one more. Open out and then come back in. Good. Left side 3 times. Roll to the left pinky edge of your foot. Come on up. And you might feel some sensation on the inner groin or the inner thigh, maybe even the hip itself. So just take note of that. Last time. Come on up. Let's just take a brief moment to pause, notice what you're feeling in your body. Hopefully there's some sort of sensation of space increasing in the body. We'll go into some pelvic tilts before we get up. So let's start by pressing the low back into the floor, tilt your pelvis towards your navel, and then reverse. We're now going to bring the tailbone down towards the floor and you'll feel a lift in the low back. And repeat that 2 more times. So pressing down, rolling the tailbone under, and reverse. And hopefully you can see there's not too much happening in the rest of my body. This is really subtle movement. It's just the pelvis going back and forth. Good. Come back to sort of a resting position, and let's just take a second here to envision that our pelvis is a clock. So the top of our pelvis is actually right beneath the navel, and we're going to consider that to be 12 o'clock, okay? The left hip is going to be 3 o'clock. The pubic bone will be 6, and the right hip is 9 o'clock. So keep those points of reference in mind, okay? We're going to start by rolling over towards the right side. So we're going to think 12 o'clock rolling over towards 9 o'clock. So you're going to be on a little bit of a diagonal. Then down to 6 o'clock, over to 3 o'clock, back to 12 o'clock. So it's really just a circular motion, okay? Do that 2 more times. There is going to be a little bit of movement in the thighs, but we don't want it to be super big, okay? We're really initiating the movement from our pelvic clock, okay? And then we're going to go the other direction. So again, the reason we're doing this is we want to get the pelvis to be mobile. We want it to move in all directions, which will help blood flow. It will help the muscles start to understand that they can move in all directions. Good. And just relax here. From here, we're going to roll to the right side. Straighten your right leg, bend your left knee to cross over Right arm extends long out from your shoulder, left palm on top. Take a breath in, reach the left arm up, twist over towards the left. You can turn your head or keep your gaze up towards the ceiling and repeat. Bring that arm back down and we'll do that 2 more rounds. So inhale up and over and then exhale back. 1 more time, inhale up and then exhale back. Good. We'll roll over now onto the left side, so you'll get to see the back view, which I'm sure will be lovely. All right, so left arm extends out from the left shoulder, left leg long, right knee crosses over the body, right palm on top of the left. Same thing 3 times. Inhale, open up, and then we'll exhale to close. And you can certainly use any props that are needed. You could place a pillow or blanket beneath the head or the knee. 1 more time. And we often tend to forget about the spine, but it is connected to our pelvis. So we want to make sure this is also moving in all directions. So we're getting a little rotational movement here. Right palm to left. And now we can just come back, roll back to center here. And we're going to come on up. Do that any way that's appropriate for you. Come to hands and knees. Let those arms and hands be slightly forward of your shoulders, knees a little bit wider than the hips, toes can angle in to touch. Inhale, shift forward, and on the exhale, let the bottom come down towards your heels, again, to any degree that is approachable to your body. Come forward, come back. So your bottom can stay really high and you can keep that tailbone reaching, or maybe the bottom comes down towards the heels. 1 more time. So we're just getting a little stretch in the adductors, the inner thighs, as well as the groin and the hips. Good. Now I want you to bring your knees closer together. We're going to sit back on our heels. If this movement is too demanding for you, you can do the same thing in a chair. So your feet would be on the floor and your hands would be placed on top of your knees. Otherwise, again, from this position, I want you to think of pushing the floor away from you. Imagine you're literally pushing it down to the center of the earth. So push so strongly that the elbows straighten, the arms straighten, and the upper back begins to curl and round. So think of sort of the cat pose and cat-cow. Chin tucks towards the chest. Now as we exhale, we're going to let the sternum come forward towards the floor. Gaze can come up. Reach your right arm forward. Gaze at your right thumb. Inhale, open over to the right. Continue to gaze at that thumb and twist open. As you exhale, come back to start. Push the floor away, so we're getting thoracic flexion here, rounding the spine. And now as we inhale, reaching forward, getting extension. Look at that thumb, gaze as you turn and open to the right to any degree, and then come back to start. 1 more. So push, round the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale, imagine the collarbones and the sternum come forward, tailbone untucks, open to the right. Good. And come back to start, and we'll move to the left side. So again, press, round, tuck the chin. Inhale, lengthen through the top of the head, shoulders down. Gaze at your thumb, twist open to the left. Good. Come back to start. Round, feel the spine stretch. Exhale, open, and maybe you only open to this point, and that's fine. Don't go past your current range. We just want to get everything moving here. Last time. Inhale, reach forward through the fingertips, open out to the left. And then come back to center. You can sit on your heels, maybe for a seated meditation, or in any way that's comfortable to you. You could call it a day and end your practice. You could go from here and add on a few more things. So I hope this feels good in your body. Again, ideally, you should feel just a little more spaciousness in the pelvis, in the low back, the hips, all the way up to the spine. So keep practicing and let me know how this goes. Please share your feedback. And until next time, namaste.